Well, good evening, everyone. This is Carolyn with Scrapbooking with a Twist, and we are going to do something a little bit different tonight. We're going to make a card, and we're going to make an Easter card that is going to be something like this. It won't be exactly like this, but pretty much. I wanted a little more pastel than what this one is. And I am the first to tell you that I am not a stamper. I am not a ink blender. But this card is just so easy and just cute, so we're going to try it tonight. I have not planned this. I made this one, and I really don't even know what procedure I'm going to use, so we're just going to dive right into it. I am going to do some sky background. I'm going to use, this is Crystal Blue, Close to My Heart inks. And I'm going to use this one to do some sky. Now, the sky, I don't care if it's a little bit splotchy, because that just kind of helps make it look like the sky with the clouds and things like that. So I do start around the edges, but I kind of like the splotchiness for the clouds. So we're just going to let it do its thing up here in these clouds. And then just work it down really light down into there. I think I'm shaking my whole desk. That's all right. All right, that is what we're going to do for the clouds, the sky, at least for now. Now then comes the fun part. If I just do the grass and do the rabbit down here, it's like there's just too much open space in there, and I didn't like it. So I started kind of experimenting with some shapes that I had that I could do more like some little, not really mountains, but hills in the background. And so that was kind of where I came up with this. So let's try that. Let's start out with Sweet Leaf. These are really, really old stamp pads, so it's quite likely that these colors don't even exist anymore, but there's something that's similar, I'll guarantee you. So we're just going to I probably should tape this, keep it from slipping some as I push around on it. And this particular ink pad I love, and I use a lot, and it's getting really dry, so I'm going to have to see if I can figure out if it's, I call my Close to My Heart rep and see if it is even still available. And if it's not, then what's the closest thing to it? Okay, I really need to go ahead and just do a light coverage of green on all of this bottom part. Like I said, this is just so dry that it's hard to get much of anything, but I love this color. It's the one I go to most often. Sorry about the shaky table. Didn't realize it was all that shaky. As you can see, I can load up really heavy and it still just goes on really lightly. But at least that gives us a little bit of coverage all over to do everything else we're going to do. Okay, now let's take that off. And I may do another little hill there somewhere. Let's look at it and see what we think. Oh, that's too much of just a line. Sometimes I kind of, I think I'm going to throw in, this is, what is this? This is bamboo. And I'm going to just throw in a tiny, tiny little bit of this almost brown. And we'll come back and kind of, I'm going to scoot that off and give it just a little bit of a halo there. Okay, there's that. Now I want another little hill off over here somewhere. So let's see what we can come up with. I don't want it the same, let's try maybe that. I've got this one is much darker, so I'm going to have to be really careful. I don't know if I even want that. So we'll soon find out, because it is really dark. Let's put some of this one on top of it. And then maybe just a touch of our bamboo. I think I want a little bit of that darker right in here. Not, like I said, I am not an ink blender by any sense of the word. I've never done very much, which is evident from this, I know. Give just a little bit of a halo there. Okay, I kind of like that. And then I've got this little thing right in here. I may add a little shadow right in there. Let's see what that does. Before we start on the grass that goes down below. All right, that's what we're going to do right there. That's it. Then we're going to put some grass down here below. And really, and it doesn't really matter. My biggest thing is I get my fingers in it, and then I really get to smudging. Okay, now we're going to start with some grass layers. And we're going to, let's just see how we want to do this. Let's go this way. I want to be careful not to get down to this straight line down here so that we don't have a straight line anywhere. I want a little bit of this darker. See if we can kind of come in with that. Get taped down a little better. While I'm doing this, I'm going to go ahead and do the thought for today. This takes a few minutes. My thought for today is the scripture in Ephesians. It's Ephesians 2:8 and 9. And it says, "For by grace are you've been saved." And this is from I believe, the NIV. "For by grace you have been saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of God, not as a result of works, so that no one can boast." And so I began to think about that because, you know, I don't know about you, but in my life, I've got a big pile of sin. I mean, I have piled up sin in my life to the point that, you know, I don't deserve anything. I don't deserve to be saved. I don't deserve for a holy God to even consider me. And yet he does. He loves us. He considers us. He loves us so much, he sent his son to die for us. And so that grace and that mercy, so undeserved. But you know, I'm not the one who decides whether I deserve it or not. I don't deserve it, but I don't have to decide that. God decided long, long ago that as undeserving as we were, he loved us enough to have a plan for us to find favor with him and to spend eternity with him. And so through that plan, through Jesus, his son, we get to have relationship with God. And so I thought, you know, it's not my decision whether I get to have a relationship with God. He made that decision. But my obedience to him is the way I show my gratitude and my thankfulness for what he's done for me. And so obedience is our way of saying thank you back to God for what he's done. And you know, then there are times as I kind of straightened my life out and got to where, you know, I felt like I was doing a little better in my life, I began to look at other people and I'd think, well, you know, I'm not as bad as they are. You know, maybe I'm not so bad. That's a terrible habit to get into, because regardless, Jesus is our measure. Other people are not our measure. And we cannot measure up to Jesus. And so looking at others is not a way to bring us up. We need to just look at Jesus and measure our lives by him and realize that it's only through God's grace that we can find favor with him. And it's through our acts of obedience that we show God that appreciation. So rather than live our lives in just however we want to, we show our obedience to God and show our appreciation for what he's done for us. Okay, so there is our Such As It Is ink blending. Like I said, I never claimed to be an ink blender. I never claimed to be a stamper. But that is what we've got for today. I'm having trouble getting this one closed. Let me get these closed and put away over here so they won't dry out. Okay, there's inks put away. Now then, this is basically what we're going to do, but I want to put this on the card, I believe, before I start doing anything to the front, because I want to put it on there while it is still flat. So I'm going to mount this on an orange card. I'm going to bring some color into this. I want that orange from my little carrot to really kind of pop. So I'm going to do this on an orange card. I'm sitting down and I can never get things straight sitting down. I do better standing up from an overhead vantage, but we're going to put it down, and that's what it's going to be. Okay, so now we have our card. This one, of course, this is just a regular A2 card, so it's from an 8.5 by 11 sheet. I got 2 cards out of it. So the card is 5.5 by 4.25. So this is 4 by 5.25, the white piece that I started with. So now we have that. I want to make a little banner that goes across, and it'll, I think, rest on this dark green that picks up these greens. I want it to be right up here, and I have some washi tape that is that just says Happy Easter, but if I just put it on that green, it just washes out. Washi tape washes out. So I am going to put it on some white and then just cut the washi tape out. So let me scoot that up. I'm going to just put this down. I'm going to get it kind of where I want it, where it says Happy Easter, Happy Easter. Put that down on there. And then let's see, that's not very straight. I'm going to try not to have to cut this top side. Get it right on the line. There we go. Fold that back. Now all I have to do is cut this side right along that washi. And we have the beginning of our little banner. Then I cut this just wider, about a 1/16 of an inch wider on both sides, so 1/8 of an inch bigger than the washi tape. And the washi tape was just over a 1/2 inch. So I just measured the washi tape and cut that little green piece just to be a little wider than it. So I'm going to mount that. I hope I'm not getting my head in the camera. I probably am. Mount that right there like that. Somewhat straight, but not very. And then we will cut that and have our little banner done. Okay, I just jumped the tracks. There we go. Okay, so there's our banner that's going to go right up there. And I believe I'm going to go ahead and put that on. We're going to put that on some foam tape. I'm going to use some foam squares. I think we're going to put that on with some foam tape so that it's not sitting flat. And we have our little title, and that part is done. Then we're going to work on our rabbit, and I'm going to show you how I did my little rabbit and what I used for him. We make cards every month for our shut-ins at church, and so this is the one I designed for that for this month. Let me get this where I can kind of get going straight with it. Nope, not straight. Like I said, I usually do this from standing, and I am sitting, so that's better, a little better. I think I want it lower if I can get it lower without tearing it up. I want it just a little lower. This one, somehow I got a little wider than the one I did on that other card, but that's okay. I think I'm going to have to stand up to look at that. Okay, that's about as straight as I'm going to get it. All right, so now let me kind of show you what I did. These are the eggs that I did. And I have a little bunny rabbit somewhere that I stamped. If I can just find him. I had all these things right here, and now I've lost them. Anyway, I stamped the bunny with this stamp, but I was going to show you how I colored him. And, where did he go? My bunny is missing. He's hopped down the bunny trail. Well, that's weird. I had all my stuff right here. Oh, there he is. Okay, here is my bunny that I stamped with this stamp. Let me get this out of the way for a minute. I did these with my markers because, and you could do them with watercolor just as easily, but I did my eggs with my markers just because it was going to be a little faster, a little easier, and with these little tiny things, a little more accurate. But I want to show you just how I did my bunny. If you've never done watercolor markers before, or watercolor pencils, I love watercolor pencils. I just usually just kind of go around the edge. Like I want my little bunny just very, very light blue so that he looks, you really think he's white, but he has a little bit of color to stand out. So there's my little bunny, and I'm not taking any time with this, but I'm going to show you the principle anyway. And so go around his little ears. Don't have to worry because we're going to fussy cut him out. Don't have to worry about staying in the lines. And I don't color him solid. I just kind of do the edges and where he has lines. There's the blue. Let's do his little carrot top with this little green. Again, just the edges. That's all I'm. Now, if I want him dark and vivid, then I would do more. But I just really want him just pretty pastel. Here's my carrot. Keeping it just around the edges and on these lines. And like I said, I would definitely take a little more time with this if I were doing it for real, but this is just to show you the process. But this is just kind of like magic. It's almost like the magic of embossing, except it's the magic of watercolor. And I am not an artist. I am not good at anything like this by any means, but I do love to play with this. Let's do a little pink in his eyes, and then we'll give him some pink inside his ears. And then the magic begins to happen. Just take a little, I use a little fine paintbrush. Just barely touch it in some water. I usually dab it off a little bit. And then when you touch these watercolor pencils, they just begin to melt. I use a little pad that I have that I kind of dab that water off on. You can use a paper towel or a Kleenex or anything you want, but just to dab that water off just a little bit so that you're not pulling too much water into it. But it just blends them to where they, and like I said, you can make these vivid. I'll show you the other card in just a minute. I did them with more color, but I like the pastel better. This little bunny's really pastel. But it takes zero skill because I have no artistic skill. If you get it too dark, you can lighten it by putting more water on it, dabbing it with the paper towel or something to pull that color off. Let's look at the carrot here just a minute. Watch this as it just comes to life. That little blue was really pastel, so this carrot will come to life a little better for you on the camera, hopefully. And this is very pastel, but I love this watercolor. You don't have to be good to do this, and yet it still turns out sweet. And if I need a little more color, I can just let it dry a little and come in with that. There are other ways. Sometimes I color my watercolor pencil over on a piece of paper and then take my brush and put in the water and then almost mix that up on that other piece of paper and then bring it over onto my picture to paint. But there, very quickly, is our little rabbit all done. So I think he turns out cute. And that is absolutely no skill involved. So I've already done one and fussy cut him out. And so we're gonna see about putting him on there and then putting our eggs on there with him. And it's gonna not take us very long to make this card. So we want our little rabbit up on foam tape for sure. So let's get him going. You know, I have trouble really doing the rabbits and the Easter eggs and things like that at Easter time because I really don't like the commercialization of Easter. I want Easter to be about Christ and the resurrection, but these cards were so cute, and I think he's sweet, so we did an Easter card with a bunny and eggs. And the eggs, I think, represent new life and always the spring colors and that. Just think of that new life and new birth, new season. Okay, so here is our little bunny. Want him down fairly low so that we can put his eggs in around him. There he is. Now I've already colored and cut out 3 little eggs to go with him. And so I'm going to fit those. Ooh, I kind of got my foam tape a little. Fit those in somewhere here. Maybe something sort of like that. Something maybe similar to that. I may have to, I want to, my scissors. I want to put them on a little bit. I want them flat on the bottom, but then I'm going to stick a little bit of foam tape up to raise them a little at the tops of the egg. And the bunny and the eggs are on watercolor paper. Nothing else is. The background or anything isn't on watercolor paper. But the bunny and the eggs I did do on watercolor paper. Okay, let's cut just a little strip of this for each one of our eggs to give them just a little bit of lift. So that they're not sitting flat. We were having some storms a while ago, and I think they've blown over, but I was watching a news thing on my phone, and they're having some terrible fires west of us. One little town, Ranger, Texas, was just literally, it was just ravaging that little town. My son actually has a deer lease out that direction. So there's our little rabbit, our eggs, and our title. I think I want to put, I don't like this being quite so bare up in there. So I think I'm going to do a couple of little birds, maybe 3 little birds right over in here. Just to kind of give it a little. So I think that's it. I think that's all we're going to do. Like I said, I am certainly not a stamper. I am not an ink blender, which is very evident, but I just thought this was fun, and I thought it turned out cute, even though it's very, very primitive, and I'm not good at that. It was fun, and made a cute little Easter card. I will put a scripture in there about Easter so that I get my message across, and I will probably put a white thing to write a little note in this card. So anyway, we're going to do, we'll do 15 of these. We have 15 that we send to in our church, and we will make 15 of these to send to the shut-ins at our church. But a little early for an Easter card, but we have to get them done early so that we can get them mailed on time. But just something fun for us to do. I hope you enjoyed it. And just remember, it's by grace that we're saved. Nothing that we can do. Just by conducting our lives that please God is the way we show our gratitude for what He's done for us. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for making a card with me, and God bless you. See you later.